Hey everybody, welcome to 30 Minutes of Awesome. Great to have you today. If you want to chat with me while we're live, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right down here in the bottom corner. And yeah, a few seconds later, you should be able to chat live with me. And glad to have you, because the third thing on tap today, 30 minutes of your request as always. So anyway. Whew, what a day, what a day. And it is now 5 o'clock. So on tap for today, we're going to talk about CPI, PPI coming up later this week, Thursday and Friday. We're going to talk about whether we just had the 3% pullback that I've been talking about. I started out the live stream this morning talking about the potential 3% pullback, and we just got one. According to my measurements, we'll look at it here in just a minute. And you know what? We can take 30 minutes of your request, like I said. So make sure you're subscribed, and we will get you. I mean, we're going to take your requests. So anyway, moving right along. Here we go. So CPI, PPI coming up Thursday and Friday. Today being Tuesday, of course. And right there, CPI. Well, the month over month and the year over year, they're expected to kind of come in. Look at that, CPI year over year coming in a little hotter. Month over month coming in flat. So we'll see how that works. And then PPI, CPI is consumer price index, and then PPI, core PPI is producer price index. Kind of, again, expected to come in a little bit hot. A little bit hotter than we saw last time. So this is one of those things coming up in the market you need to be prepared for. It has led to outsized moves. Now we're going to see also another consumer sentiment coming up right here. So, all right. We'll get requests here in just a minute. Give me a minute to welcome everybody, talk through it. Yeah, had a busy day. Storms. Whew. Yesterday, we had storms rock through town like this. This was just after it passed through. You can see my little pin right here. Passed through, and the power was out, and everything was wrecked. The news was saying something like Category 2 straight line winds, Category 2 hurricane type straight line winds. It wrecked trees all over town. Blew a tree about 80 feet, broke it off, and carried it over and landed on my mom's house. Power was out here at my office for 23 hours-ish, and got power and internet back. So glad to be back with you. And there are still roughly 5,000 people. I just pulled it up right before I went live. Roughly 5,000 people in the Knoxville area of 216,000 people, according to the utility district that they serve. About 5,000 of those still no power. So that sucks, but glad I have power back. Hopefully they'll be back in the next day or two. Yeah, my mom, she was a little freaked out. The cat freaked out worse than she was. She's okay. The house mostly okay. Roof got some damage to it. I'm gonna go after this and go drag tree off so we can get a tarp on it, because it's supposed to rain again tomorrow. So she did have some damage. You can see right up in the attic from outside, so it's not supposed to be that way. All right. Anyway, so that's PPI, CPI. Now, did we get the 3% pullback? That's the big question, right? According to my measurement right here, back on July 27th, and today, remember, on Friday, we got that low. Yesterday, I was warning that we may see a lower low. On Monday, which we didn't, or today, which we did, right down there, we actually hit the targets I talked about on the morning show. So if you don't watch the morning show, make sure you hit the bell with the notifications so you can come watch me tomorrow morning when I go live before the market opens and talk about what the expectation is today. Yeah, out in Maui with no power. Yeah, sorry about that hurricane. Hopefully you do okay. So we got a green doji though. Green doji. Look at long rejection tail. Beautiful to see. Beautiful, beautiful. Right there. And we came down right to the qualifications on a 3% pullback. Now, if you had been unaware I mean, maybe you're brand new. You've never been on one of these streams before. This is what I was sharing this morning right here. It had been actually 105. This was from Friday. Had been 105 trading days since we had a pullback of 3% or more. Typically, every 47 trading days, we get one of those on average. And the median is 38. If you know that statistical difference there. So on average, though, we go about 47 days and then get a pullback. That is something to keep in mind. All right. About half the time, though, we pull back before that 47 days. And about half the time, it takes longer than 47 days. On average, you can see there's not a ton of days right in the average. It is a constant sloping line. So a lot of times we come in less than 47. Half the time we come in more than 47. And actually, it's the median. Half the time we come in under 38. Half the time, out of all the pullbacks, we come in above 38. So that median point is where take all the pullbacks on either side, and that median comes in right there. All right. It's a little bit of statistical analysis, a little bit different. And so where does that leave us now? We're back at 0. It can be 3 days. It could be 38 days. It could be 47 days. It could be 320 days before we see the next pullback. But we got a 3% pullback, and we have satisfied this. So I won't talk about it probably unless we start setting some sort of new record again. All right. Although if we get to the magic average, I may start talking about that again. If we get back to 47 days, haven't pulled back. So there you go. That's statistically, we were likely to get a pullback. We were in the top 5% of moves, and now we have wrapped it up. We got the 3% pullback. All righty. Now, let's go through our normal kind of Tuesday 30 minutes of awesome. I am a little discombobulated. I've been out running around town, checking out things, getting quotes on, showing the roofer my mom's roof, and, deciding what we had to do and all sorts of things. So bear with me. I know I'm a little scattered. Haven't been trading, sitting here all day. ES did get slammed down. We did end up with a red candle on ES for the day. That S&P 500 chart gapped down and then rallied up, while ES trades almost 24 hours a day. Well, 23 hours a day. So we saw a red kind of hammer thing. A little bit different. And if we look at the 30-minute, though, we had a solid rally right up into the close here. We do need to get above this roadmap line, though. If we turn down overnight, watch out. We can push lower again. All right, that is a classic type of retrace deal where, let's run this fib really quick because it cleared them all off after I shut everything down. We bounced right out to the 1272, right back up to the roadmap line. We can do it all again. We'll have to see what happens overnight, but right now with the high we've got in place, we could see a drop out to 44.71, possibly 44.58. I prefer to see the breakout, but and we can go bullish from here, but we got some resistance above us. That's something to watch for overnight. Maybe set an alert right up here. If we start getting above 45.30, certainly above 45.45, that prior high, and then of course up here above 45.60, we're probably going to break out and go to a new high. New high being higher than what we saw right back over here on July 27th. Not new all-time high forever, July 2022. I mean, January 2022. Not higher than that yet. We'll probably extend out to probably 46.75, maybe 47.27. That'll be getting close to a new high, but we'll probably get another retrace. All right. Any questions, you can let me know. That's what I'm looking at on ES, but we have to break this out. Otherwise, we can get some continuation lower. We can still go lower. We can still, looking at, oh, that's cool. Grab the, where's my S&P chart here? There we go. We could still bounce up and retrace. I mean, we could still extend down, bounce up and retrace and get down to the roadmap line. This is still entirely possible that we're just making a little bitty retrace in what can be a continuation lower, and then we rally up and then go for a bigger correction similar to these corrections over here. Right over here. See that right there? Similar kind of target. And that 3-wave would be kind of how it took place. All right. Oop. Got stuff popping up everywhere. All right. That's the S&P. That's the 3%. That's the PPI. Now let's kind of do a few other outlooks here, like we normally do. Let's talk through the regular, the rest of the commodities and stuff before we hit on your requests. So I'll get to your request in just a minute. All right, NQ. Kind of finally hit the 100. This can wrap this sucker up. This was what I was looking for. I said this morning that I felt like Nasdaq needed to go a little lower, 15.2 at least. We kind of hit it right on the head there, right on that blue line I put on the chart. That could be it. That's all we needed. We can go higher. Now, is it the all clear? No, it's not the all clear till we start breaking out. Got to get back above 15.6 at the minimum on NQ. But we satisfied the minimum I was shooting for on a downside target here. All right, we got it. Moving on. That was a 3-wave type move on the futures, and we can break out and go. All right, Russell. That one right down to this orange zone. That was a beautiful retrace and a rejection back up. If we break out above that trend line in the next day or two, we're probably headed to 2100 at least. CL got a strong hammer reversal right back up to resistance, has not broken out higher. That one can still retrace down to the roadmap line. Gasoline already turning up, maybe on a move to go higher here. Gasoline looks like if we can break above that 618 resistance, probably going up for about $3, $3.05 a gallon. And if it turns down here, finds resistance here overnight, probably coming down to the roadmap line. 1, 2, 3, ABC. All right, right there. Be right down to back down in the 265 area. But caution, we can go ripping off higher. Natural gas still just sideways, still lower than the high we saw right back here in June. There's nothing like that. That chart has nothing for me right now. Just nothing. Gold still consolidating in this box. If we get below it tomorrow or the next couple of days, probably going to come down and touch the roadmap line down here. This daily roadmap line, this daily orange zone right here. Probably going to come down there, touch it around 1935, 1940 area, depending on how many days it takes to get down there. Silver. Oh, what a reversal. Come on. This thing needs to quit messing around. It's probably going to go lower low. One more push down. May get one more touchdown. If it makes a higher low, that's extra bullish, but that's pretty deep right now. May push down to this 2150 area right down here. Copper also looking a little rough. We are kind of pushing the limit of this kind of uptrend of the lows we had going on. That can lead to a lower low. This thing right here, off this low up to this high, could be looking at a move down to 340 on copper and possibly all the way down there. That's based on the bigger pattern, A, B, and a C. All right. And lumber, this thing still hasn't sorted itself out to become realistic. So, all right, if you got other questions about pork or corn or wheat or anything like that, I can hit them. Sugar, coffee, whatever you might want to look at, even interest rates. I've got them all down through here. And one other thing I want to hit on, this S5FI, right down in the middle. This thing is set to reverse higher. That can be the bottom. We don't need to go all the way to the bottom. It's possible that we drop all the way to the bottom, but we're finding support in the middle here. We can hang out and we can go higher from here. 10-year bond. Let's see if I can remember which one it is. There's 10-year notes and 10-year treasury bonds, ultra treasury bonds, 5-year notes. They're all looking pretty bearish Bearish, bearish, bearish. 2-year notes. Give me the ticker if you got them. Got one you particularly want to look at. 10-year constant maturity is looking like it can break out. All right. All right. Time for your request. Remember, 1 request per person per line, and then give somebody else a chance to go. And if I get to a point where I've caught up to you, then we can take more. SMCI. This one is launching off constantly. I mean, just keeps pushing higher. There are no fib patterns to really worry about. I've kind of thought that this would be resistance. We may get a deeper pullback from here. We did get a pullback right here where we went down close to that 618 and launched off again. And where is the resistance at this point? I mean, without getting another retrace, I can't really project much. I mean, we have 364, 372, 381. But the higher this goes, the more likely it is to come right back down to this area very, very quickly. All right. GRMN. Just chopping. Chopping in the resistance. Probably, I mean, we came up just shy of the top, so I would expect a full retrace right back down to support at the roadmap line, but it's not a super bullish chart. That's lots of overlap, lots of choppiness, and it looks like it needs to work out some issues before we can get a good trend going. UNP and met some resistance right over here, and looks like we're going to retrace all the way back down. I would be careful on that one. It can, at the minimum, it can retrace that gap up right there. We see gaps fill quite often. If it can break out above this, we can get continuation. But that was one heck of a move, all in one. I mean, that was pretty fast too. Went from 190 all the way up to 240 in a very almost straight up kind of move. I would expect it to come back, probably find support around 200, 210, maybe up here around 220. But like I said, not the most bullish at the moment. FNGR, finger motion. That is resistance, and that is not overly positive. Look for support back down here around the roadmap line. That may not be what you want to hear, but one move down, retrace, second move down. Corrections tend to happen in threes. That's kind of what I would expect right there. All right. Mara. What is Mara doing? Reacting to Bitcoin is what Mara's doing. Bitcoin was looking horrible yesterday. Bitcoin was looking positive today. And Mara just kind of being choppy. They did report earnings, and it was kind of a bust. But they don't do anything but mine Bitcoin. So unless they sell Bitcoin, they're not pulling any profit. And estimated to lose, 5.7 cents a share and lost 10 cents a share. Estimated $83 million revenue and got 81 million. So disappointed on the top and the bottom. And that's off the Bloomberg numbers. That's where those numbers come from. Bloomberg publishes estimates, and that's where these come from. But it doesn't really matter. They're not in the business of selling anything. They're in the business of mining Bitcoin. So it's really about how much their Bitcoin is valued. They have like 12,000 Bitcoins, and they mine more every single day. And as Bitcoin pops off, that can pop off. Now, was this deep enough to count as the correction? Let's run this and kind of see. If we go off of here, this rally right here, we have dipped down into the 50% retrace. There is possibility that we come right on down here to the 618, right around 13. That's possible. We could hold here. If we break out above 1760, that's the indication that we're going to launch on off. And the next target higher. Let's clear a little bit of this off. So don't get too confused on what line's what here. I got lots of stuff. I know it's a busy chart. Right now, if that's the bottom, that 50% retrace, we could expect 21, 23, possibly 25 on the next move out, just based on the normal targets. I do still hold 30 as the head and shoulders type pattern that played out right back over here. We can still launch off and get up into that $30 area. That may take a little bit more work to get through, but it's still on the chart, still possible, plausible for now. Then we may get a bigger, deeper retrace in toward the end of the year, and we may pop off for the next couple months, get a bigger retrace, and then rally into the Bitcoin halving event. So that's out there as possible, plausible, and all that stuff. All right. Ding, ding, ding. Dangling precious metals. QTRX. Oh, QTRX. Get my fingers on the right key. And they do medical specialty. I'm going to qualify this as probably in the biotech type field. Medical specialty, all that kind of experimental medical crap. Yes, crap. They don't always follow the patterns, so be careful. That's going to be resistance, and it looks like we actually have a big supply zone all the way up in here, right in there. That's going. There's probably going to be some sellers come in as we pop up into that where those highs were right there. So I would be careful going long that one. If you know something I don't know, like a drug, they're about to solve Alzheimer's. I don't know. You know, medical specialties, that can mean a lot of stuff. I don't know what they're cooking on. They can announce, this is one of those industries that they can just announce something like, we just cured cancer, and all of a sudden their stock's worth $1 bajillion. You see that with Lilly right now. Sledge knows. He kind of played through the dice on the Moderno being super positive for their earnings, and Lilly popped like crazy. They can just, you know, even a big established company out there that, you know, is not really biotech, but, you know, related to biotech in the pharmaceutical field, drug news can make or break these suckers. And Moderno, how do you say it? I don't even know. I hear it on the commercial and I can't even say it again. Super positive for Lilly, and as long as we don't get you know, like the weight loss drug that came out in the early 2000s, as long as we don't start having side effects like that, these are going to probably be huge for diabetes patients and the overweight America. All right, XME. Yeah, so that's sideways and sloppy. The biggest thing that I see right here, look at this. We've got price going lower, price coming higher. That was sloppy. I need to turn off that stupid magnet thing right there. That's a watermelon seed squeeze. That's what I call it. Resistance right up here at the top of the line, support right down here at the bottom of the line, and it can keep playing in here until it gets all the way down to the end. Doesn't have to break out, doesn't have to break down. It can just keep tightening up, trading a smaller range right around this $48 area until we get all the way down here. All right. I wouldn't chase it unless you just felt extra sparky and passionate about something. It's not a high probability situation. All right, ZN. Let's see which ZN I have on 10-year. I probably have it in here somewhere. Yeah, ZN1 right there. 10-year, that's the 10-year notes. That's bearish. Watch out, we can break down. I could be completely wrong. This could be the bottom, but that right there, roadmap pattern, could take us down to 106.19. I'm not great at the bond prices. I don't usually trade them. I don't usually trade the 10-year notes or anything like that. So watch out, though. That's hanging out at the lows we've had since October. Yeah, the stock market's rallying. 10-year notes doing nothing. And could go lower. We're seeing that. TLT, people buying calls like crazy, even though this thing is plummeting. This thing could rip all those calls and go lower. Be careful. All right. We do not have to rip out on bonds. In fact, it may go lower just to F with people. The market may take it lower just to screw people that are thinking they've got the bottom. Keep it in mind, the market tends to do whatever it can do to take the most amount of money from the most number of people. All right. Airbnb. I was just kind of messing around the last couple of days. We may get a retrace right back down in this zone right here. Retest that. We were getting a little bit of positive action off the earnings, and then today just kind of hanging. We may retrace right back down in this zone and then bounce. Do still have higher targets because this was a very bullish setup right here. And even if it's bearish, we should get up to 165-ish. 155, 165, 166. All right. Even if it's bearish. Amazon, I kind of quit watching that one. We're kind of hanging here at 140. That was my kind of initial target. And we may actually see that blast on up to 160. It is still lagging on the next market. Excuse me a second. My headphones are trying to talk to me. I don't want them to make a bunch of noise when they freak out here. There we go. And there we go. So Amazon could go a little higher. I've held this 145 to 160 area as the target for a while. We came up just shy. I was saying 140, but we're still under that high from back here last August. That's still lagging the QQQ. And we could still see this go outsized. Now, it may be due for a retrace. That may have been all she wrote on that pop, especially with the hangout there. And we hit the 1618 of that pullback. Maybe pull back, maybe just rest a few days before the next pop. Like I said, this thing is lagging the QQQ. If we compare it right here, pull it up, we look at it, look at the QQQ performance compared to Amazon, even off the bottom down here. If we kind of pull this down, we're slightly outperforming off of the beginning of the year, but when the market bottomed out in October, QQQ seriously outperforming while Amazon went lower. So we've got something like a 20%, 15% potential outperformance on Amazon versus the rest of QQQ. All right. I'm still bullish, mainly for that reason, if nothing else. All right, remove the QQQ and FNGU. This one is leveraged. Remember, leverage doesn't have to do anything according to my pattern. Leverage is one of those may not work like I expect. All right, be careful. Leveraged instruments, biotechs, and dumpster fires, China, and stocks I've lost money on. Those are the ones I stay away from. What are stocks I consistently lose money on? Meta, that's one. Lulu, that's another one. A bunch of China stuff. So I tend to stay away from those as far as my actual trades. All right. It's just once you burned your hand on the stove 10 or 12 times, you just don't touch it anymore. I mean, it's just one of those things. So FNGU, that's a Head and Shoulders. It's kind of sloppy. It's kind of weird. It's kind of skewed, like the Quasimodo Head and Shoulders. And it could play out retracing back down here, but it also can go popping out. So remember, leverage just doesn't always go according to the pattern. So trying to predict leverage is like, maybe I get that right. Maybe I don't. All right. moving on. Coin. Do expect it to hold this, and so far it is. If it can hold this, if it can turn back higher, break above 94, right there, that candle, you know, kind of spent 3-4 days right there. If we can break back up above that little zone right there, right in there, expecting this to blast on off. And when I say blast on off, we're talking potentially up to 200. Pop this right there. This area right up here. I do tend to put it in log mode when I'm expecting moves bigger than $50. That would be a lot more than $50. So, all right. Moving on, XLB. That's that was resistance. That's a retrace, and that's not overly bullish coming up there. We may come back to the roadmap line. That would be a 50% retrace, a little bit deeper, retesting. So the classic thing that may do, let's just rewind my brain a second. The classic thing it may do, since we broke out of what was a downtrend, we did retest it here very sloppily. We may come down and retest it one more time. Come back right in this area. If we hold that, turn up, break out above this, we can go on an extension. All right. S-Bucks, Starbucks was getting a big retrace and nothing. Just parked on the roadmap line. Not doing anything. Up here is resistance, 107, 108. And we gap down, so it really pushes the resistance all the way up to the top, up to 114. If we can get above 114, 120, 127, but I'm still kind of holding out that we see one more dip before this thing's done. It's not feeling exciting right here. Like that, it's like a shoulder, head, head. Shoulder, head, bigger head. And that can lead to a big down. Another friend of mine calls that the shh pattern, like the librarian pattern, when you have a shoulder, head, head. Watch out for that one to continue lower. That's all I got. I mean, there's nothing there to really, it doesn't follow any of my patterns right there. So, all right, yeah, the replay will be up as soon as I'm done, so you can come back and watch the rest. All right, MU. Thanks for coming by, PD. MU, another one that's just messing around. That may retrace back to the roadmap line one more time. A lot of times we see that. We come up, hit that resistance zone, can't do it, and come back down. Retest the roadmap line at a higher price than we did the first time, and then go. And that's, so far that's what we got. SOXL, all these chip stocks or chip ETFs kind of look like they might pull back further. SOXX looking like it's kind of toppy, and yeah, so one of the only ones that looking like it could pop on off is Intel right here. Looks like it could rally right up into this $40 area. So GD. And General Dynamics is stuck right under this resistance right there. You see all these lows right here? And we came up, and these are the highs. That's where sellers are sitting. So be careful. We could rally on up, test the top of that range, but it's going to take some energy. We may see it rally up, retrace to the roadmap line before we can break on out. And it doesn't look like it's going to be a big mover for a little while. A little bit of a dice roll there. All right. And NIO. And it's came up, broke above, and sitting there. If it breaks down back below 12, probably come back to at least 11, if not retesting the lows. If it breaks back above 16.07, whatever that high was right there, if it gets above that, it's probably going right up into this area, right up here. That area goes from 19-ish up to about 24.50-ish. Delta Victor November DVN is just farting around uninterestingly. That's a lower high, higher low. This is one of those watermelon seed squeeze situations where we're just kind of messing around, getting a lower and a smaller and smaller range going. And it can just keep hovering right around 50 to 52. Just keep hanging out, right? It doesn't matter what oil's doing. This thing can just keep doing that for months. Rivian. Probably coming right back down to the roadmap line. Resistance, turn down, come back to support. That's what I expect. Short term, next couple of weeks, probably come back to this $21 area. If we can break above here, we're probably going to find resistance at 34. If it can't hold on to this, we're probably coming back down to this consolidation area. That head and shoulders played out, got a little extra hype, popped up, found resistance, found the sellers. It can come right back down. And AI looking like it's going to retrace right back down to the roadmap line. The AI hype is not, I wouldn't say done, but it's less hype right now. Kind of did the hype. Now the retrace. It's likely we see something right down in here. That one came up a little short. That's usually what we see when we're extra bullish. We miss downside targets. And when we're not so extra bullish anymore, we tend to start meeting those downside targets. That's why I'm not sure the S&P 500 is going to go much deeper, because we don't have to. Like, if the market is extra bullish right now, we're not going to go on down. So that's the reason why I'm kind of like mixed feelings about whether we go any lower or we just start blasting off. If we're going all-time high, we're probably just going to rip on off higher. All right, TWLO. And somebody's calling me. Glad I muted the phone. Twilio. Just sideways. It's just, that's bearish, stuck on the roadmap line. But this was a higher low. That's a lower high. It can just mess around right in this. Like, zoom it out and look. At this point, we don't have, a bunch of proof yet, but we're looking at like something like this. Okay, come down, find support at 49, come back up, find resistance at 63, and just hang out right around this $50 area. Couldn't break out, couldn't get up to the resistance, turn down. That's what we got going right now. If we start getting below this trend line, watch out. We can get an extension. How low could she go? Could be down to 29.67. Don't see a lot of upside unless we start breaking above all this resistance we've built up now, which is a lot. We have built up a lot. Up to about 70, 77, 78. Google. And got to the 1272. Retraced back. Oh, look, perfect. The next move, probably 137.91 out to the 618. 1618. Excuse me. That's classic. We see that break up, hit the 1272, retrace to the 100, and then move up to the 1618. So that would be what I would expect right there. 137.91. I'd be disappointed if it doesn't at least hit 137. And it has the potential to get a little overly excited and go hit this target right up here around 143. That prior high, and then these highs up here. Once we break out above that, watch out above, baby. That one's definitely lagging like Apple. Apple came up, made a new high, and then rolled over. Alrighty. Oh, that was cool. Wonder what caused that. FCX, Foxtrot, Charlie, X-ray. Rolling back down. Probably going to come back to the roadmap line. And look, we've got this kind of thing going on. Watch out. That can be messy. All right. You can just keep messing around here. Now, these triangle things, these like things that do that, that's generally what I call a B wave. That's usually the second move in a corrective move is where we see this. So what's the first move? That's a good question here. I mean, that could have been the first move and this be the second. And then we get a third move, which would take us right down here. Or it could be a little different, like this first move, and then this is the second move, and then the third move can be higher. So not quite sure on FCX which way it is, but I do kind of expect it to keep filling out that watermelon seed squeeze until it pops. That's why they're unreliable. It's hard to predict which way corrections are gonna go next. And that little seed squeeze thing is a correction. All right, SoFi probably on the way back down to the roadmap line. Low price stuff. That's the other one. I was talking leveraged, biotech, China, low price stuff. That's the fourth one that doesn't always play according to the patterns. Low price stuff is stuff generally under 10, and this has generally been under 10 for a while. Good long while. And it doesn't have to do my pattern. So if it does, back down to the roadmap line. That was the 1618, found resistance, retrace back down to the roadmap line. That would be what I would expect next. FANG, Diamondback Energy, just not breaking out. Not breaking out, not breaking out, not doing it. That was the high, that was the low. Three-wave move, 1, 2, 3 into resistance. That could be an A, that could be a B, this could be a C down. I'm not sure if this does that. The downside support probably down around 105. If this breaks on out, we could be headed up to 183, possibly 201. I would need to see some sustained move really above this. First, well, we just drop box there. That's the zone. It's probably resistance, and it may come all the way back down, all the way down to there. But really, that's the high right there. These highs over here. I'd want to see it come up there, get a close in there. Then I would be feeling more confident about it going to 183, possibly 201. Otherwise, we could be looking at this down here. So that's kind of your path. Like significant resistance here, not a lot keeping it from going down here. That's Diamondback Energy. Yeah. Watch out below. That one can definitely drop. All right. And that would blow your mind too, right? Like oil goes ripping higher and a lot of the oil company stocks go lower. This looks like a giant head and shoulders type thing. Call me crazy. That's what jumps out on the chart at me at the moment. See this thing like this. Not exactly proportional, but watch out below. That can extend way on down. Can also pop up, but if it broke out, maybe up there, but if it breaks down, could come down to 33. And that kind of corrective move up could lead us down to 28. It has been unable to break above and get above this stuff, and that makes it look like this is less likely and this is more likely. So target area right down in like this. All right. That was SE, FTNT, Fortinet. And 1272, deep retrace. That was the target. And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 retrace. Let's see what we got cooking here. 618. If we break, so most aggressively, the most aggressive you could be, a move up through 6150. You've got a significant retrace. That gap downs are resistance. It may retrace all the way up there and turn down again. If it does get out of here, though, we could. There is the possibility. If this gets above this, we could be on the path to 127. If we can't get above, if we can't break back above into there, probably going 32. Crazy range. Yes. That's the risk. All right. That's FTNT, PayPal. They were announcing some kind of crypto thing, right? PayPal dollar, PYPL, no slashes. I'm still bearish on PayPal. Announcing some kind of some kind of PayPal US dollar, PayPal USD, whatever. But and Elon, his ex, wants to transact in that. PayPal was his original baby. If you're unfamiliar, that's how he got his first billions or whatever. Got him started down the billionaire path, and he wants to support it with his new X platform, formerly known as Twitter. This still looks like it's come down to 53.50. I don't care what anybody says. That's been my target. Still my target. And we may go down here to 45. All right, MOD. That's, I'm not gonna have any targets because that's blowing them all out. 45. That's the higher we climb up. That, like, you see how it bounced. It went right off the 1272 little retrace, 1618. Kind of paused for 3 days. 200 right back to the 1618. Poked on up through. Didn't really stop at that 272, 227.2%. Did slow down at 2618, retraced a little bit, and then popped right up to 3618. This can possibly go out to 4236 or 686. Very low likely without getting an outsized retrace. Lower on the likelihood, but yeah, 50, 43 above that, and possibly 69, 50 above that. All right. Already hit Airbnb, Patrick. Got the rewind, my man. Sorry you came in late. We touched on that. OXY. Chopping. We already touched on that one too. Copper. Already touched on that one. Pep, if you came in late, it's all just slide back and find it. That was weird. Wonder why. How did I get on the monthly? That was weird. Must have hit extra keys on my way. So, retrace to the roadmap line. Bounce up, break above this. Then we can go higher. If we break down below the roadmap line, probably coming down here. This is kind of held this path. Talked about it before. That's where we are. Maybe I talked about it last week. I don't remember. It's still on the path. Looks like we're coming down to the roadmap line. That's the test. If we bounce there, possible higher. If we don't bounce there, possibly lower. Alrighty. And just while we're at it, I mentioned Meta cannot break out. That's what I kind of expected. We would fill the gap and just kind of park there, not really do anything. Netflix has been unable to get to the top to fill the gap yet. It got up there, ran out of steam, retraced. Thinking about it, next attempt will probably take us right back up here and do the Meta thing, fill the gap. Where does that gap come from? It comes from right over here, right around 505, 500, 505. We got close. Close doesn't count. We need that last little push. All right. ADM. Is that Archer Daniels? Yeah. And potentially working on a breakout. Potentially. Kind of gnarly in this whole situation. That was a big big three-wave retrace. Let me see. Ooh, yeah. That was pretty nice. Pretty nice. Big flat correction. Potential for this to go higher. Not crazy higher without more retrace. Probably only get to 89.50. Trying to expect a little bit of resistance right there. And then we could see a move right back down here. Maybe like JT. I think you're smoking crack. Well, it's okay. That move looks like it's about played out, though. It looks like we could do that right there. If it does that, if it holds that, turns back positive, goes back above the roadmap line, wherever the roadmap line ends up at this, juncture, wherever it is at that time, that would be a measured bounce setup for a mega move. Talking like 108 from 77. Right now, just a little bit higher and then retrace. Now, can it just go ahead and break out now? Sure, it can break out now, but there's no retrace off this low. Not any meaningful one. And it probably needs a bigger retrace. All right, VET. That's resistance. What do I expect it to do? Bounce off of that and go lower. Oh, look at that. That would kind of make sense too. Look. Bounced off once, retrace to the bottom, find support, turn up. How big? Let's check one more thing. Holy moly, that's a big old move off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's sloppy. Could hold. It could hold here. There's the chance that we hold here. There's a chance that this goes bullish, but say that right there is probably the difference maker. We start getting above that $16 area, 16.25, 17. Probably start looking positive, but we can go down further. I'm with a difficult one. I don't like difficult ones because it's not likely you make money. Oil looks like trash. Look at that. That reverse split wrecked that chart. I have no way to predict this anymore after that 1 for 20 split. That's leverage. It's ultra, it's leverage, and it's extra leveraged on the historical chart pattern. And the current one looks like garbage. Absolute garbage. Nothing to predict there. And the natural gas chart looks like absolute garbage. Not going higher. Can it break out? Sure. Can it find that resistance right at the top? Yeah. And can it go right back down to the bottom? Yeah. Lots of people are expecting this to blast off into the winter. That means there's lots of traders sitting there shorting the crap out of this for anybody going long. I mean, look, we've been inside the range of February. And that was February 21st, March 3rd. I mean, that's like a week and 3 days, 10 days. And we've been in that range ever since. From March 3rd till now. There's just, it became completely uninteresting to me when it started doing nothing. COP is potentially trying to be bullish, but it has this resistance right here that I need to see it get above. Now it could get me a little more interested if it does this pullback right back to the roadmap line and then does this. That would be absolutely beautiful. But it doesn't have to, and that's the resistance. And if it can break above the resistance, then 150, possibly 166 are the targets on the upside. All right. And TOL, Toll Brothers, that has no pullbacks, so a little bit more difficult to predict. That's just a drift higher, bounced right off the 1272, didn't quite make it down to the 100. The 1618 would be the next expectation. 95.98. Probably just 95 is what I would call it. All right, USO. No, I'm not overly bullish on oil at the moment until we get another retrace back. Like, I would expect this to do this number before we do this number. And that's really based on the oil chart here. Talk about oil every morning. So if you want to stay on top of oil, and the fib chart does look a little different, but when you turn off the logarithmic chart because it hasn't really moved $50, we're at the resistance. We've been there for 3 days, 4 days, and probably going to retrace back to the roadmap line. That would be my expectation. All right. DIS continues to be complete garbage. I do expect this thing to drop on down. It's been sitting at the lows, sitting at the lows, sitting at the lows. We can get an extension lower. That'd be like right there. 76. As long as we're under the roadmap line, I expect 76. You know, I had a higher target up here at 81, but now 76. That big spike and sets it up to go down. A final flush can clear this out and we can go higher. But that's what I expect. BITO, it doesn't have a lot to, I mean, you might as well look at the Bitcoin chart. This chart, it doesn't stand alone by itself. It's a derivative. You got to go to the source. Bitcoin potentially turning up, getting a little slammed after the close here. Not overly awesome. That could be the final spike and we come back down on the 30-minute here. That move was looking played out. I was hoping we could get some more energy. Found resistance right at this prior spike. And turning down. Did get a higher spike, but turning down, we can retrace all the way back down here. And go for it again. We'll see. Come back in the morning. I'll talk about Bitcoin. BITO is just going to follow this chart. And that kind of brings us to 6 o'clock. The market should be open in about 30 seconds. Glad you came and hung out with me. I'm going to wrap this up. Like I said, or like Beth said in the chat there, I still have to go drag some wood, get a tarp from my mom's house because it's supposed to rain again tomorrow. So awesome. Awesome, awesome. Thanks for coming. I'll see you again in the morning. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the button right over here on the leverage. Hit the button right down here to be a subscriber. Hit the bell with the notifications. Hit the thumbs up. Maybe this will get shared out to some people. If you know somebody that might like this, share it. That'd be awesome. Otherwise, I'll see you in the morning. Have a great day, everybody. Bye for now.